So yeah, I'm here at GDC with Simon Oliver from Circus, developer of Rolando, if anyone's old enough to remember that. It's going to show us Seabeard, so...
Yeah, let me just fire it up. So this is something we're working on for the last couple of years. We're finally able to take it out of the cave and show people what it is that we've been working on. And it's a kind of hybrid between a trading and an adventure game. So I'm just going to jump out to see and show you really how the large-scale map works and how the world all ties together. So if I zoom out here, you can see there's two different sea regions that are unlocked at the moment. When you start off the game, there's just one sea region unlocked, but over time you unlock one and then another and another as you progress through the game. We're going to be launching with 4, and then over time we're going to be adding more and more content. Again, the nice thing about running a live game is that we can really keep adding content as we continue development. So we can respond to find out what people really like and respond to that. So I'm just going to start sailing route here. So you can see I'm sailing to Bullhorn Farm, which is one of the first islands that you unlock in the game. And as you sail from place to place, you get a number of different minigames. As you upgrade your boat, you can get more and more elaborate minigames, but this is one of the first ones where we're just using the cannon on the boat to shoot down a few bubbles and free a few of these trapped fish.
So what are these fish doing for you right now in like the grand scheme of the game?
So these minigames, each one, depending how you perform, if I get all these fish, I'll get a good item, a rare item. But if I just get a few of them, then I'll just generate currency. So this is definitely one of the simpler ones, but further down the line, you'll be doing things like feeding animals, target practice, you'll be rescuing people, you'll be doing smuggling missions where you've got to try and avoid security to get an item from A to B. So it all ties into the overall scheme of things in terms of trading and adventure. So in the trading phase, you're going collecting exotic items and using your crew and using your skills to find items that you see. So in this case, you can see there's a couple of items lying around, and you take them back to your home island to sell. So really inspired by the great explorers, people like Marco Polo and Sir Walter Raleigh, these kind of great people that set up things like the spice route, all these exotic trade routes, you know, way back in history. But in terms of picking up items, some of it's just as simple as just tapping on them in this case to pick them up. So we have a simple tap to move, and then to scroll around you can just use a single finger pan. And we're also using a few other kind of optional interactions, so you know, you can zoom in and out with 2 fingers, or you can rotate the world. But we want to make sure this is something that anyone can play, and people can play casually, whether it's on their phone or also scaling up to iPad. For other objects in the environment, so things like the tree, I can just tap to move. It'll shake it, and again, you can see it's dropping a few items here. Same with the bush, I can just go and tap to interact. And all the things you see here, I can, like the apple I just picked up, I can sell those back on my home island, or once I get a little bit further into the game, I can craft them into higher value items. And these items can either be used for trading, or on the adventure side, to complete the quests that I get. So if you walk around, anyone that's got an exclamation mark above their heads, they give you quests. So if I speak to this guy over here, Arthur Bullhorn, he's going to give me a quest. So we have like a main narrative thread as we go through the game that teaches you how to play the game and explains where you are and gives us a backstory. But we also have an endless quest generation system. So this means the game's evergreen. It's something you can carry on playing for weeks, months, or maybe even years. So in this case, he's giving us just one of the most basic quests, which is feeding his cows. So if I had an item, in this case I need a cow leaf, I can go and feed these cows, but I don't have one at the moment. And a lot of the game really revolves around just understanding the world and becoming intimate with the world, understanding where the items come from, and understanding the routines of the different people in the environment. So we have, I'm just going to jump to the debug screen here. We have a real-time day-night system, so I'm just going to switch to what it would look like if I was playing at night. So if I was to come back at night, the people in this environment would be doing different things. So, for example, the guy that I was speaking to just then, he'd be over in the pub, maybe having a drink. This guy who runs the pick your own vegetable plot, he'd be tucked up in bed as well, so he wouldn't be able to get vegetables, and the animals would be asleep. But just as certain things close, as the day passes, certain other opportunities open. So, for example, there might be a smuggling guy, like a shady character that's there that can give you smuggling missions at night.
So can you actually watch the path that these NPCs take, or is it like every time you load the game, that's when it figures out where they're supposed to be? Like if you wanted to be like, watch the guy from the cow field, like go home.
At the moment, it's just done when you fire up, they'll just be in a different position. Oh, okay. As we didn't think people would be playing at, maybe the same island for an hour or so much time like that. But it's certainly something we can do. I mean, the NPCs will do different things during the day. So if you watch this girl, she'll be chasing she does move around. She'll be chasing birds, so she's just running around the environment chasing birds. Other people, might be going and turning the lights on at night. Other people might be feeding livestock or delivering letters. We have a postman on another island delivering letters. So we have an element of AI, but in terms of moving around and doing different behaviors, most of it will just be determined by when you start up the game.
I mean, that basically requires you to be like a Skyrim player to care about stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we want to do is if you're a casual player and you just really want to just go and dive in and do stuff, there's something you can play at that level and you can just enjoy customizing your crew and collecting items and trading. But if you really get into the game, we really want to build a community where people are excited about working out the most efficient trade routes and working out the routines on people's islands. So, we might have somebody saying, oh, there's this really exotic animal that turns up at this island between 2 or 3 a.m. to really encourage people to jump into the game at different times and talk about their experiences. So you can see here I'm just hiring the first crew member. So this is something that happens very early in the game, and crew members provide a different way of playing. So in this case, the first person that you hire is a fisherwoman. So if I go back outside, she gives me the option to get a whole new range of items and offers a mini game to do that. So if I go and tap over here by these fish.
I really like how the camera pans out and you guys just run there instead of like pathing all the way around the island.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we had from early user testing is we had it. So it's weird. Some people really like that. Some people like zooming out and just seeing, where people run and just watching them move around. But you can imagine if you're in a hurry and you're playing on the phone, you're playing on the bus and you've only got, 30 seconds to play. You don't want to have to wait while they walk all the way across. So yeah, they'll warp if you're off screen. They'll warp back to the position. So you see I just caught a fish. I'm going to catch another one over here.
Yeah, that's so much better for mobile play sessions, I feel like, than watching you guys bumble all the way back over.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a little bit too time consuming. But we realised, that's the thing, when we were back in kind of the the kind of dark ages, the App Store, maybe the dark ages, but the very early days of the App Store, they had there was no iPad, and we were using Till, and things are very different. So there's a lot more to consider now, I think, in terms of the way that people play games and making sure that we address the needs of, the very quick player on the iPhone to somebody who wants to sit down and enjoy themselves for, half an hour on an iPad. So I'm just going to jump further to another island. This is a little bit further into the game. You can see if we want to use a bit more fuel, we can travel to another island immediately. So in this case, we can use an airship to get across. So if you want to be strategic about the fuel allowance that you have each day, it allows you to jump across and do that if you have a quick session to get somewhere quickly.
So is your fuel refilling a daily thing, or is that... have you figured that out yet?
Yeah, so it'll be constantly refueling. So, if you want to wait an hour, you can do another short journey. But if you really want to cross the whole ocean, you have to wait a little bit longer to do that. We don't kick people out the game, so, you can still hang around on the island that you're at the moment. So you can go and collect quests, collect items, trade, craft, all that kind of stuff. So we don't want this to be a game where people are like, I want to play, but I can't.
Yeah. Cool.
So this is a little bit more of kind of city in the game. So this is Llorona Village, and there's a lot more going on here. This showcases a bit more of the upgrades that you get in the game, a little bit more of crafting. So I'll give you a quick tour of the different buildings here. So if I head over to the pet store, you can see here there's a range of pets that you can get, as well as just buying pets. They're not just aesthetic. Once you get the archaeologist, which is the third crew member, they'll help find places to go and dig up items, and they're also fully customizable as well. So we can buy things like top hats, party hats, glasses, bow ties, all that kind of stuff. One of the big things, most important things for us is to make something that is really, really customizable and really personable. So we want people to feel like, they have the room to decorate their crew and customize their crew however they want. So you want to build a Team Zizou style adventure team, you can do that too. If you want to dress them all up like Tim Burton style gothic characters, you can do that too. And again, I think that's one of the things we want to see, that if people come back with this feedback of like, I really, really want to create this kind of team, you can do that. So as well as the crew themselves, there's also the opportunity to buy boats and decorate home island. So this person I'm speaking to now is a guy called Gabriel Flambe, and he's somebody that teaches you different crafting recipes. So all the items that you've seen so far in the game, like the apples and strawberries and the fish, they can all be combined into higher value items. So a lot of the game really revolves around, trying to work out the best way of like leaving things here, leaving things there, and setting up these timings and these routes to kind of generate currency most efficiently. So in this case, I've actually got most of those, but I could use his cooking machine to leave those items crafting. So when I come back, they'll be ready, and then I can take them back to my home island to sell. So also in the village, you can see there's a jail over here. So when you get the combat, when you get a warrior character, she'll give you fugitive missions. So there'll be people that have gone and kind of maybe broken out of jail and they're hiding on another island, and she'll send you to go and get them back. We have a town hall, which is where you collect your prizes for getting certain achievements. This is the outfitters, so this is where you can customize your crew. So we're going to speak to this guy over here. You can see Chad Plaid will sell me everything from spinning beanie hats to Amelia Earhart style costumes, or the obligatory eye patch if you're feeling like you want to dress your characters up like pirates.
Nice.
And you can customize all your characters as well. So we can give her a nice beanie hat and maybe a little pair of sunglasses as well. And we have hundreds of decorations to launch with. But again, the nice thing about it being live is we can keep adding more and more details. So last building on Llorona Village, this is the Architect. So this is somewhere where you can buy buildings to upgrade your home island. So a lot of the upgrades, as you go through the game, will be dependent on really rebuilding this great trading capital. It's a little bit like the United Nations of the Sea, and it's somewhere to bring together all the various tribes that you encounter as you play through the game. So you can buy things like new crew houses to place down there, as well as trading stands, a warehouse to allow you to get a bigger inventory, a kennel to allow you to have a pet. And again, all these will be restylable, so you can theme your home island however you want. Now I'm just going to show you something you get a little bit further into the game, to show you one of the other crew characters. So if you head in here, this is the warrior. So this unlocks a really different style of play, more kind of dungeoneering style.
So now how long would you have to be playing the game if you're playing it like yourself, not in a demo, to get these additional crew members? I mean, is this like first session kind of thing, or?
So I think the first session you'll get to this island, but then you have to complete a series of quests to get to the warrior character. So we kind of have this quite strong linear narrative that goes through the game that unlocks the main crew characters, but around that there's a whole sandbox world as well, so it really depends on how much you get involved in all the side quests and all the other missions like that. We're still finalising the actual tutorial and the progression ourselves at the moment, so I don't have an exact answer of how long it would take you to get the warrior. But yeah, it'll never be at a stage where there's not interesting things to do off the side.
I was just curious, like, the original trailer, it was like, what is this? Is it a dungeon crawler, or is it everything else?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things to do. I mean, we realised that the audience on iOS is really large and really diverse, so we wanted to provide just different ways that people can play the game, and not really force it down their throat. So if people don't like combat, that's fine. You can go around and sail and do mini games and feed chickens and do crafting and do fishing. If you prefer the dungeoneering, then you can do that too, because all these different ways allow you to get the currency that you can use to customize your crew and rebuild your home island and do all the other things that you enjoy doing. So it's really important for us to have this flexibility and this real sandbox style play.
So if you're not into combat, like, you seriously would never need to go into a dungeon unless you wanted like every quest, or? So
there's certain things, so you will need to play through the main progression. So you'll need to at least try combat, but you won't need to do loads and loads of combat missions, unless you wanted to get maybe like a certain prize that's only the result of one combat mission. So if you wanted to build, say, a combat statue that's only available by getting loads and loads of combat missions as a reward, then you'd need to do it for that. But in terms of the main progression, once you've tried combat, if you don't like it, you can really specialize in all the others.
That's really cool. It almost kind of reminds me of like Ultima Online in a way, where it's like, if you want to just do crafting crap, like, you can just disregard the parts you don't like.
Yeah, well, that's the most frustrating thing, isn't it? When there's a game you're playing, you love the game, but you're forced doing things you don't enjoy doing. So yeah, we definitely don't want to force it down people's throats if they're not enjoying it. So you can see just then, that was a little bit of combat that we had there, just fighting one of the gnomes in this abandoned mine. So again, all the different mini games like that as well. When you kill the gnomes, sometimes they'll drop items, and the items you can sell back on your home island, or you can craft the monster parts into potions, or sometimes they drop keys that you can use to unlock chests. So again, it's a very different style of play to the other stuff in the game.
Yeah, cool.
I think it gives you a kind of rough overview of the main parts.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for